Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Celtic Way for an evening briefing. Are we going to call it the evening briefing, do you reckon? Or a TCW reacts? I think we'll keep it with that. TCW reacts to Brendan Rodgers' eye-opening press conference. My name is Ryan McGinley, at the Ryan McGinley on the X handle. Tonight I'm delighted to be joined, as always, by Tony Haggerty at aHaggerty10 on the X handle. Tony, how are you doing? I know that you're in the office just now. You said you were in a bunker. How are you doing in said bunker?
Bunkers treat me all right, Ryan. If you can hear me fine, then so be it. Yeah, it's all good. I'm in the office a rare day, actually, in the place where we work. We usually work from home, but there you have it. And yes, just listen to and watch Brendan Rodgers' press conference transcribed. It should be up on the website as we speak. Mm-hmm. Interesting, for want of a better word.
Yeah, before we get started, and I will bring up just the thing that I've just put on the bottom of the screen. If you want to see all of the things that we do on the Celtic Way website, please subscribe. £4 for 4 months, £18 for a year. celticway.co.uk/subscribe for more information. Please check us out. We would really appreciate it. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's completely free. And we'd like to thank our sponsors, as always, MPH Group for plumbing, heating, kitchens and bathroom work, as well as Navien Boilers. Please look at MPH Group. All the links will be in the description below. Tony, we were speaking just off the air before we came on this evening, and we both admitted that we thought that Brendan Rodgers was pretty good in that press conference. I know you've listened to the whole broadcast one. I know I didn't leave you to your own devices to do it, but there was 2 interviews that came out roughly around about the same time, the Sky Sports one and the actual broadcast one. So we went our separate ways and we listened to what Brendan Rodgers had to say. We were saying that we were impressed with him and what he said and how he came across. But I'll give you the floor. What did you make of today's proceedings?
I thought he played an absolute blinder today, I have to say. He straddled that kind of line between, coming out swinging and not blaming anybody, but really putting you in the picture about what happened over the transfer window and kind of telling you, like, there were players that they wanted to get, clubs weren't willing to sell them, and he's not going to bring in people for the sake of it. He referenced the yellow strap line, talking about
that was my favourite line of the conference. I think
saying he didn't want to do that, and he also said need to be careful about the blame game, everybody, and he obviously referenced to the recruitment team. But he put a lot of meat in the bones today, and he answered a lot of questions that the Celtic fans wanted answered. Granted, they'll be disappointed with the fact that they didn't do a lot of business, but he said he understood, and he also said, put the onus back onto him, that it's up to him to deliver the quality that he wants. But he did say they could have been braver a couple of times. So I'm just thinking, was there a couple of moves there that, don't know if they were vetoed, but, what was the problem? Was it money, or was it just the fact that a box wasn't ticked by somebody? I mean, he never came out and, he was at pains to say, got to be careful about, pointing the finger of blame at people. They've done very well. They've earned the recruitment team have earned Celtic money with previous signings and stuff like that. So I would be more interested in the ones that came close. I would have loved to speak or elaborate more on that. But I was quite impressed with the manager today, I have to say. I thought he would just come out and give it the difficult window, try to get it over the line. But he filled in a lot of blanks today. And again, he was still confident in his own ability to get the title over the line with the squad that he has. So we shall see, Ryan. We shall see.
Yes, and
time what happens.
But and you and I shall reconvene tomorrow to see if those things have been put into action. Hopefully, we're talking about debut goals for players, debut starts for players as well. A first start potentially for Nicholas Kuhn. I know in the next 10 minutes we've got the predicted lineups coming out. It'll be interesting to see if anybody else agrees with the teams that we've both selected. If we were on a wee bit later tonight, I would have brought it up, but I'm aware that we've got places to be this evening as well. But before we talk about the Q&A just in its entirety and some of the questions that were asked, I do want to give a shout out and a thank you to one of the fan media groups that went to the press conference today in 20 Minute Tims, because they asked the hard-hitting questions I think a lot of Celtic supporters wanted to hear today. They'd clearly done their homework and they'd listened to what their fellow fans wanted to hear, and I thought they went went about it pretty well. They've put up their own version of the video on YouTube, and I would strongly recommend people go and have a wee look to see exactly the questions that they asked. But yeah, I wanted to give them a shout out because I thought their questions were very eloquent, and it was a good use of fan media, and it's when fan media can be a use for good in these press conferences. But just going into the questions, there was talk about the quality, there was business that they could have been looking to do, and just judging by the piece that's on
was brought up, wasn't it? The actual left back, the naming of a left, the signing of a left back, and he didn't shirk it. To be fair,
no, he was he wasn't scared of answering the questions. I think he's got enough experience in the game now, and he knows. I think before we go into actually talking about the recruitment, I think it's important to talk about a player that Celtic did recruit in the past couple of days, and that was Adam Ida. And going by what Brendan Rodgers said both in the Sky Sports interview and the interview with the broadcast media, this very much sounds like a player that Brendan Rodgers did want at the club. It's a player that he'd known about, he'd faced off against when Norwich were playing Leicester were playing Norwich, and vice versa. And he's a player that has maybe stumbled upon some hard times, but the quality is there, and Brendan Rodgers looks as if he wants to get his teeth into him and make him become a better player in the process. I was quite happy to hear that today. I don't know about you.
Yeah, without a doubt, and because everybody made a lot of the fact that he didn't comment on the piece that came out last night in the transfer window when Ida was unveiled, and he spoke and he said a few words, and everybody leapt onto that. He was very fulsome in his praise for the boy, and he was also very fulsome in terms of in his praise of what he thinks he can bring to the club. And my only reticence about the whole thing was the loan option to buy, because if he proves himself to be a first team oven ready player, it's going to cost you a few quid to buy him, which Brendan Rodgers said he might well turn out to be that player. That they can,
he did hint towards that.
They can be braver with in the summer. So there'll be an incredible irony in that, won't there, Ryan? If this
there was the door was firmly left open on that for the summer. If he is available in the summer, he could be a player that Celtic could look upon and say, right, you've had the 6 months, 4, 5, 6 months at the club, you've acclimatised well, why not stay permanently? If there is any talk about him staying permanently, then he will have settled absolutely tremendously. If there's talk of because he's a backup striker at this point.
And Celtic will have first dibs on him, won't he? Because he wants. I mean, even hearing boy Adam Ida himself, he says he's always wanted to play for Celtic. So, and the fact that the manager was here and the way he's worked with young players before and developed them, so it was all win-win plus. But to hear Brendan so enthused about him, you get the feeling that he wants him to play, don't you? I don't think he'll throw him straight in tomorrow, but he's going to come on tomorrow.
You'll see him at some point tomorrow.
You'll see him at some point,
absolutely.
Definitely. And also, I think he's thinking, projecting further ahead and thinking, right, you've got 4 months. I'm going to use you during this 4 months, and not sparingly, not as a backup. I think there'll be horses for courses time as well, and he'll play him from the start. And that means the obvious. He'll be rotating Kyogo. And if you'd have said that any time last year, or at the start of the season, Celtic supporters would have been up in arms. But I don't think any Celtic supporter at this moment in time and on current form would object to possible rotation of Kyogo at this moment in time.
No, I think healthy competition is healthy, especially at this point in the season, and it could push Kyogo onto new heights or heights that he's been at before, but that he's not really hit this season. So Brendan Rodgers was asked about the fans, and the fans were seeming unhappy at the summer transfer business, talk about bringing in quality early on, and then the January window came and those various positions identified. I like the detail of these questions as well. Really good detail from whoever was asking these questions. So he responded saying that we'd looked at a number of players who didn't quite fit, or maybe would not have improved what we already had in certain positions. There were others we felt that could fit, and there was a real willingness from the club to do business. I always think that this is quite an interesting point, and bring the players, but it was the other club. You need that to work both ways. Players wanted to come here, and there were a few that wanted to come, but the club wouldn't allow them to come, their own club. We have a number of positions that we want to improve, and we want to develop that, And what I wasn't keen to do was to bring in a player to make it fashionable and to have that yellow band across the TV to say that we'd signed a player. If it's not going to work for us long term or medium term, then I didn't see the point in that. I thought that was a really good answer from Brendan Rodgers, and it was really clear as to what.
Do you know what I liked about that answer? Players wanted to come here. So if they want to come here in January, they'll certainly want to come here again in summer if Celtic still retain that level of interest, won't they? Just the clubs that were blocking, the club, the parent clubs, were vetoing any kind of move. And you can understand it with it being January. But he made a point, Brendan Rodgers is saying players wanted to come here. Trust me, I had quality lined up. It was vetoed or blocked by A and others. You can't do anything about that. As you said, it has to be mutually beneficial to both parties. Fair enough. So, but I was pretty enthused by that, Ryan, because I thought the manager was enthused by that too, and he was quite excited about what Nicholas Kuhn and certainly Adamida would bring that to the table. And so I'm actually I was more confident than I was at 9 o'clock this morning about Celtic moving forward, because he struck me today as, I know you're disappointed, I feel your disappointment too. Could we have been braver in the market with a couple of targets? Yes, we could have, but trust me, that's something I'll work on. It's my job to deliver. I will sort this in the summer. That's what he was saying to me, on the proviso that they can get this title over the line. And I think he was just kind of rallying call. Well, right, you're disappointed. You have to park that. This team and me have got a league to win, and we're going to go all flat out to do that. We know the transfer window wasn't what you maybe wanted or desired, but trust me, I'm on it. Because he was talking about, in all the years I'm here, still talking about projecting further down the line. So I was impressed with that, So I have to say, he didn't strike me. It was completely opposite what I thought was going to happen today.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I was pleasantly surprised at the tone in which Brendan Rodgers had when he was answering questions. He was very open. He wasn't cagey with the media at all. It's almost as if he was ready for what he knew was coming. He knew the mood music, and he knew the hymn sheet he had to sing from in order to get the right sort of balance between feeling a bit disappointed, yes, but feeling positive about the team in general. That answer to me basically confirms that the interest in Matthias Kvistgaarden is concrete. I don't know about you, but that's the first player that I thought of when I looked at that answer. There was a player that wanted to come. The player's club didn't allow him to come. That would make sense. That would put two and two together with Brøndby's situation just now in their own domestic league. Players that wanted to come, that wanted to make that move. If that player is still interested in the summer, it looks as if that could be a done deal, and there's maybe an agreement between the two clubs that the player will get released in the summer to go to Celtic. If that's the case, then that's good recruitment.
Yeah, I also thought of Owen Beck as well. He sprung to mind too. When he said that there was players wanting to come, but it was blocked by their other clubs. That was the first one that came to my mind, Liverpool, blocking Owen Beck. So I've got a feeling that, and maybe if Celtic had been braver in their attempts to get him, they could have landed him. That was in my mind as well. Kvistgaarden, yep, possibly. That's probably something that will bubble away under the surface as well. So you can speculate, can't you? Basically, what we're saying here. So on you go.
Yeah, I'd like to just bring up this, and it's important to separate and differentiate the manager and the board. So Dermot's came in and said, "My goodness, how much your opinion has changed since last night." It's not changed at all. I wouldn't say you were all against what Celtic and the board were not doing. Yes, we were annoyed last night with what the board was doing, but at the same time, there is no time to dwell on that. It's what Brendan Rodgers has said, and I'd like to take what Brendan Rodgers says at face value and the point that he's trying to make.
We didn't have the answers last night, did we?
No.
So there's a wee bit more meat on the bone, and there's a wee bit more of an explanation, whilst still not thoroughly satisfied with what happened in the window. As you say, you take the manager at face value and you believe his words and what he said, so it's slightly more palatable that I know, or you've kind of got a bigger picture of what happened, or you've got a clearer picture of what happened. because we were all, as I said last night, there was more questions than answers. I'm still not convinced that the recruitment team did their job in this window, but neither's the manager, because he said he understood the fans' frustrations. So I think you still have doubts about those upstairs, and so I think basically Brendan was saying, wait till the summer. If you're going to start pointing fingers, then do it. Wait till we've recruited in the summer and see if your opinion's still the same. But I think most Celtic supporters, their jury's very much out on the recruitment team at this minute, because he was asked about, did he view the recruitment in the 2 windows that he's been here a success? And he kind of skillfully navigated his way around that and said, well, they brought in players and made a lot of money in players, so be careful what you wish for, because when you start pointing accusatory fingers, it creates disharmony. He said, I can't remember his quote, but separation is what he said. It creates separation. And he said that's not what Celtic's about. It's about togetherness. So we kind of rallying cry saying, Celtic have got a league to win now. We have what we have at our disposal. Go and win this title. Get behind us. And if you're still unhappy, then wait till after the summer. And if you're still unhappy, then so be it. But he understands the frustration. You know, he can't bring in players now. So he was just giving you a fuller picture. And that's what I wanted, Ryan. I wanted a fuller picture and a better understanding. Does it change the way you feel about certain members of the board and the recruitment team? Probably not. But I trust the manager. I trust him implicitly. And I don't think he would tell lies in this situation.
Yeah, because he's got no reason to be honest. It doesn't help his position whatsoever. It would actually hinder his position with the hierarchy as well. People are saying that potentially we overreacted last night. I don't think that was the case. I think that was a very, very common feeling last night. I thought we...
And it's also on the manager, because he said himself it's up to him to deliver. So he knows what's at stake come the end of the season, doesn't he? Mm-hmm. So, and he feels pretty confident that he can deliver the title, the third successive title. So, and everybody knows our thoughts on the manager, so I'm willing to go with him. But I just think a couple of things have happened here. That Celtic could have been braver and brought in a couple of ready-made first-team players who were possibly lined up. Didn't see it through. He's telling you that, and I think he's disappointed with that, and he couldn't hide that. But he let you know that, you know. So I'm happy. I'm happy that he's disappointed in that, because he was telling you, look, we were aiming big here. There were players here, you know. We had them. We did our part of the bargain. It was other clubs who didn't want to part with them. That's understandable, isn't it? It's January. So
yeah, just going to go...
To be brave in summer. So shows that bravery in the summer that you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to go through some of the other highlights of it, because I realise that we've been going for 17 minutes. This was supposed to be a 15-minute show. Yeah. We'll try and maybe wrap it up in about 5 or so minutes. Just going through some of the extra highlights from... he also cleared up the Gustav Lagerbielke situation. The reason he didn't leave the club was because of Cameron Carter-Vickers' recent injury. It looks like he'll be out for round about 3 weeks. Rio Atati will be a bit longer. Apparently he's done both of his calves, which cannot be ideal. I don't know how you manage that to begin with, but having having no available calves is a lot worse than having one available calf. So all the best to those two players in their recuperation and improvement. The Lagerbielke situation is an interesting one, because he basically said he could have went in this window until the door was slammed shut because of the injury situation. And I think that's quite smart from the manager, because he realised if he was to let Lagerbielke go and another player get injured in that time, he may be okay just now. Lagerbielke might not make the bench, but he might do so tomorrow. We're not too sure regarding where his actual place is going to be in the team. But if he didn't make the bench and then somebody else get injured, then you're in a bit of a crisis. Iwata's just back on the grass. He can't play yet. That would be a last-ditch sort of centre-back option. You don't want to be in that position where Celtic are scrambling for centre-backs when they had a massive amount a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, I think they've done the right thing in that. I think he will move on from the club in the summer. I think probably both sides have agreed on that, both from the players' side and the manager and club side. but they've got to keep themselves right. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, listen, I've seen a lot of comments coming in and people having their say and saying various things, but the managers could have come out and just played it with a straight bat, said we tried, failed, end of story, that's it. Thought he was very open and honest today and frank, and people, it doesn't matter. He's damned if he do and damned if he doesn't, to be honest. Ryan, you know what I mean? I thought he played it very well today. Proof will be in the summer, I guess. We have to wait until the summer. But I can't say I'm happy about what happened in the transfer window. No Celtic supporters happy about that. But I'm sort of happier in the explanation that was given as to why certain things didn't happen. So, as I say, I'm taking the manager's comments at face value, and we shall see, won't we? We will reconvene. Of course, we'll reconvene on it. Celtic have got a title to win now, and a Scottish Cup to win. Starts tomorrow, 12:30 at Pittodrie. They have what they have in terms of their squad between now and the end of the season. So we will take it from there. But, some people are even being abusive in the comments. It's that just earns you a ban, to be honest, guys. So it's we let you say what you like, but within reason. So if you're going to come on here and swear at us, then we reserve the right to hit the block button and stuff like that, because we're always quite respectful of you. So, and you're allowed to disagree. There's ways of disagreeing, but as well, And last night we were all bitterly disappointed in the transfer window. I'm still bitterly disappointed in the transfer window, but having listened to the manager, he is disappointed too, and he let you know that. So,
yep.
And fine, we have to move on. That's the bottom line. And so, yeah, I reiterate what I said. If you're going to come in the chat, then be respectful. If you're not respectful, then we will reserve the right to hit buttons and remove you from the chat room. And I'm sick of some of the comments and abuse, verbal abuse. It's unacceptable, and we're just. I think we are providing. It's 6:10 on a Friday night, trying to provide some entertainment to talk about what the manager's press conference. This is what we do for a living, and we are fairly privileged in that, and we enjoy doing it. But I'm not going to put up with verbal abuse coming down the side of commenters. We're respectful of everybody. We always have been. So I don't think it's too much to ask for the same courtesy to be extended to the two guys who are currently doing the podcast.
So the last thing that I'm going to be talking about, or the last thing that we are going to be talking about on today's thing, is the comments about David Turnbull, and it seems as if Brendan Rodgers, he was pretty much resigned to losing that player.
Yeah,
they'd made it clear. I think it was on the other press conference or the other interview that he did with Sky Sports that he said they knew from pretty early on that he wasn't going to sign a new deal. They'd made that clear. So with 6 months left in his deal to get the £2 million, there's not really much complaint between the player and the team. With Hatati's injury, you don't know how far down the line the deal was when that was found out. But with 6 months left, £2 million, I don't think there can be anyone that's really complaining.
No, correct. And listen, it's with Turnbull, he said his mindset was set back in the summer, wasn't it? And then he said with a year to go in his contract, it made sense to let him go and get games elsewhere. He probably said to him at the start of the summer, I'll give you a chance, put you in a kind of shop window type thing. He had a decent first game against Ross County, and then Celtic went to Pittodrie and kind of reverted to type, didn't he? And he did give him 2 or 3 games, didn't he, over the course of that time, and then thought, okay, where's your head at? We'll see what happens in January, see what interest there is, and we'll take it from there. But if that's something else, if you want to pursue something else, then we won't stop you. So I think that they've did the sensible thing with David Turnbull. And so, yeah, sad to see him go, because I like you, I thought he could have achieved so much more as a Celtic player. But it's gone now. He's out the door, and the manager, again, another subject that he addressed today amongst a myriad of topics. And I thought he did very well. He spoke very well, and I don't think any Celtic supporters happy, but I was certainly happier today that I got some form of explanation for what we all last night were saying was a shambolic transfer window. But I can see there's frustration in the manager there as well, and so yeah, he's kind of said a couple of things were close, but not close enough. So we'll see what the summer brings. As I say, we now have to concentrate on the controllables, as we always talk about, and you have to go to Pittodrie and control the outcome and the destination of the 3 points tomorrow. So it starts tomorrow again, all over again. So let's do it.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you very much, Tony, for joining me today on today's programme. I think it was your first. That was your first one today, wasn't it? Because you weren't on this morning, so you did get a briefing. You did get a briefing after all.
Yes.
You did promise the viewers last night you'd be on tomorrow, and you were on today at one point. I couldn't leave them without having a wee daily dose of Tony on the show, even for a wee half an hour, one reacting. Thank you to everybody in the comments that joined us both last night for the deadline day special, the extravaganza with a total of 1 signing. The show this morning with Hamish and myself, and for this show as well. We really do appreciate it. If you enjoy what we do, please press that subscribe button on YouTube, because it'll be supporting us. You'll improve the algorithm, and it means that we can get more people watching the show. You'll get notified when we go live, both with pre-recorded videos and post-match reaction, pre-match reaction, morning briefings, and reaction to press conferences and everything else in between. Please, if you're interested in what we do, we endeavour to bring you the best content on the Celtic Way website, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. £4 for 4 months, £18 for a year, and you'll get the access to the best content, the best Celtic content that the internet can provide. No biased opinions here, but we do try our best. The website is absolutely brimming with content today, so if you're looking for a daily fix of Celtic, then there's plenty to get your teeth sunk into. Please look at MPH Group as well, our sponsors. We thank them once again for sponsoring today's video and every video that we do. They have Navien Boilers, 98%. I'm trying to do this without the script. All the links are in the description. Plumbing, heating, kitchens and bathroom work. Look no further than MPH Group, and all those links, as always, are in the description below this video. Tony, thank you very much for joining me today.
Yeah, I just wanted to echo what you said about last night, guys. That was a phenomenal amount of people that joined us. I put a tweet out earlier saying thanks to everybody, but we can't do it without you. We really appreciate it. And it was disappointing, but today a wee bit more chirpier. Tomorrow, 3 points. It's always result dependent. Have a brilliant weekend. Join us for the pre and post match briefings as well. But I always tell you it's result dependent, so we'll see what transpires tomorrow. But just a big thank you to everybody who does come on and puts their opinions in, and we can, we throw them about there, don't we, and debate it all. But yeah, last night was a big thing for the two of us, and when we hit the 1,000 mark, I kind of let out a yelp, didn't I? There was 1,000 people watching us live, so even interrupted you, Ryan, as you were in mid-flow. So, but yeah, it's these numbers mean a lot to us, and we thank you very much for them. All right.
Yeah, we really do appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening. We'll be back with the pre-match show tomorrow, where I'll be in Pittodrie talking about the team lineup, and we'll preview a bit more of the game alongside Tony. We'll be post-match as well, and then we'll have the morning briefing back on Monday with Hamish. Thank you, everybody. Have a very good weekend, and hopefully Celtic get a good result tomorrow. Cheers, guys.